Hi, this is Jim from Trek World. And what if I told you the future of Star Trek wasn't planned by a Hollywood studio, but it was drawn by a retired engineer in his own home? Well, that's exactly what happened in the 1970s.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Remember that in all of these videos, there's going to be a link in the description that you can go to where you will actually be taken to an affiliate link on Amazon showing you the availability of the books that I've been discussing.
For original Gen 1 Star Trek fans, the years after the show were pretty tough. There were no new episodes, there were no movies yet, and streaming services were half a century away. If we wanted more Trek, we had to find it ourselves. We searched bookstores, we studied reruns, we wrote to each other in fan letters, so when a book came along that treated Star Trek like it was real, well, we jumped right on it. The book was the Starfleet Technical Manual, created, of course, by Franz Joseph. It just didn't describe the Enterprise or show off cool gadgets. It gave us blueprints, diagrams, and full details on how Starfleet worked. And we loved it. We studied it. We argued about it. We added it to the growing world of Trek fandom that we were building together at the time. Now, Franz Joseph, his full name was Franz Joseph Schnabel, wasn't part of the Star Trek crew. He didn't work for the TV network or the studio. He was a retired engineer. He had worked on machines and designs in the real world, and after he retired, his daughter introduced him to Star Trek, and like many of us, he had questions. What was the layout of the Enterprise? What other kinds of ships did Starfleet use? How did the Federation organize its departments and uniforms? But instead of just wondering, Franz Joseph got to work. He started sketching. He studied the episodes closely. He looked at film frames in order to examine props and used his real-world knowledge to design what wasn't shown on the screen. What began as a way to share his daughter's interest became a project that would shape Star Trek fandom for years. Indeed, many Gen 1 Star Trek fans would tell you to this very day, this book was the one book we could not do without. If you ever wanted to ask yourself what was the most important book in Star Trek fandom history to come out of Generation 1, it was the Starfleet Technical Manual. In 1975, Ballantine Books published the Starfleet Technical Manual, and it didn't look like a normal sci-fi book. It looked like something straight from Starfleet headquarters. The cover warned us it was restricted. The pages were filled with blueprints, tables, charts, and official-looking symbols. This wasn't a storybook. It was a technical manual, just like the kind used in the real military. Inside, we found blueprints of the USS Enterprise, deck plans and ship layouts, schematics for phasers and shuttlecraft, Starfleet command structures and departments. Oh my, communication codes, medical engineering badges, starbase designs, and a timeline for Federation history that we'd never seen before. Franz Joseph treated the Star Trek universe like it was real. He asked, if this were an actual Navy in space, how would it have been organized? And then he answered that question in the most exact detail he could. And for fans, this was a dream come true. In the 1970s, you see, there wasn't much in the way of new Star Trek content. The original show was over. The movies hadn't started yet. We had episode reruns, a few books, and a couple fan-made newsletters that went back and forth via the mail. Every new piece of Star Trek, to us, felt like treasure. So when this manual hit the shelves, it wasn't just exciting, it was important. We studied it, we memorized ship classes, we built models based on the drawings. We created fan clubs using the command structures that he described. And if something in the manual didn't match the show exactly, we figured out a way to make it work anyway. We were that hungry. And you know what? We were that creative.
If you have any videos, photos, or documents that you would like to donate to us, please feel free to send them to jim@trek-world.com or submit them via the web at submit.trek-world.com.
And that is how first generation fandom worked. We took everything, official or not, and we folded it into our own version of the Star Trek universe. The Starfleet Technical Manual wasn't just part of that. It actually helped lead the way. Now, the manual also introduced Starfleet ship designs that were never shown on TV. Here's a thought. Think about this for a second. As far as official 100% real Star Trek, we never saw another Starfleet ship design until Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan with the Reliant. And that would come almost 10 years after this book. Things like destroyers, scouts, cargo tugs, ships that help Starfleet run as a full organization, we had never seen. But we had them in this book. Joseph created seals and logos for every department, from science to communication. He even invented how Starfleet filed its records. In short, he built the bones of the Federation and made everything feel real to us. One of the most exciting moments came in 1979 when Star Trek the Motion Picture came out, and you can actually see images from the book in the background on the bridge. It was a small moment, okay? But the fans, it meant everything. It was like the show was saying, yes, we see you, and we know what this manual meant to you. And this manual had a lasting impact on our lives. Later Trek shows and books borrowed from Franz Joseph's work significantly. The division badges, like the famous Science, Engineering, and Command, were expanded based on what he did. The idea of the Starfleet as a full-scale Navy helped shape the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. Role-playing games like FASA's Star Trek used his ship designs for years. Even non-canon books and fan films leaned heavily on the world that he built for us. And all of this came from someone outside the studio system. For the first time ever, it came from a fan, just like us. Now, I want to reiterate that as the community, we didn't just love this book. We used it to run fan clubs. We built role-play games. We made ship diagrams. We wrote fan stories. We designed entire fleets. The manual became a part of how we lived inside the Star Trek universe. The Starfleet Technical Manual wasn't just a reference book. It was a bridge, and it took us from viewers to participants. So what's the best thing I can say about the Starfleet Technical Manual? How about this? In Star Trek history, it's exceptionally important, not because it was official, but because it was authentic. And that's what real fans recognized. The Starfleet Technical Manual reminds us that Star Trek didn't just survive after cancellation. It thrived because of the fans. Fans who created blueprints, who wrote fanzines, who ran conventions, and built something lasting. Franz Joseph didn't just design ships. He helped us believe in the future. He gave shape to a world we already loved. And for many of us, that world felt a little bit more real because of what he had made. And I just wanted to thank you so much for visiting my channel to watch one of my videos. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you do enjoy this video, I would personally be very grateful if you might please consider subscribing to the channel. Why, you might ask? Well, viewer subscriptions help to ensure that I am able to continue providing more Trek World content like the video you just watched.